everyone, this is Srividya, Assistant Professor in the Department of CSIT. Today I am going to discuss files in C. So what is a file? So this is the overview, introduction to files, types of files, different modes of files and file handling functions in C. A file is used to store user data in a computer. In other words, computer stores the data using the files. So generally we will see if you want to store any information, you will create a folder and you will place all your data in that file. So what will be the definition? A file is a collection of data that's stored on secondary memory like hard disk of a computer. A file is a collection of data that's stored on a secondary memory like hard disk of a computer. So C supports two types of files. One is text file and another one is the binary file. Suppose see, this is your computer memory, or else this is your RAM, and this is your hard disk of the computer. Suppose whatever data that you want to store for permanent purpose, that you will store in here in your hard disk. Suppose I have created a file like sum of two numbers or addition of two numbers or any function program. I have created a file like suppose reverse.c. That file I want to store in a hard disk of a computer, and that file for the processing or everything, it will be done in the CPU. So that data will be stored in the RAM for temporary purpose because the accessing of data will be done from the RAM. So it is reverse.c. So a copy of the data for that file is maintained here. So always a file pointer will be pointing to the hard disk of the computer to fetch the data. So C programming supports two types of files. One is a text file and another one is a binary file. A text file, the file that contains ASCII codes of data like digits, alphabets and symbols is called a text file. The file that contains ASCII codes of data like digits, alphabets and symbols. Suppose if you take any file, that file with .txt extension, and in that file if you write something, any digits, alphabets, symbols, so that file can be called as a text file or the ASCII file. So whatever the data that we have entered here, that data will be converted into the equivalent ASCII value. So this type of files can be considered as a text file. Next, what is meant by binary file? So you can say that binary is nothing but zeros and ones, which contains two numbers, zeros and ones. The file that contains data in the form of bytes, zeros and ones is called as a binary file. A file that contains the data in the form of zeros and ones is called a binary file. The binary files are the compiled versions of the text file. If this file get compiled, it will convert into .bin file. So this is the compiled version of the text file. So there are two types of files. One we can say the text file and another one is the binary file. The text file contains digits, alphabets and symbols. Binary file contains zeros and ones. So in C programming language, there are different modes that are available to open a file. So if you want to open any file, these are the following modes. So first they are R, W, A, R plus, W plus, A plus. These are your file modes. So based on the specific mode, you can open that file in that particular mode. So this one is the read mode. Next, write, append, read and write. Next, so R, which opens the text file in reading mode. W, which opens the text file in writing mode. So this opens the text file in the writing mode. So if you give some, we will use some syntaxes to open the file modes that I'll discuss. So if you mention the particular mode, that file will be opened in the read mode. And if you want to open any file in the write mode, you have to mention it. I want to open that particular file in the write mode. Next, A means append to all. So if there is another file that has already some content in it, and if you want to add some extra content in that file, you can use the append mode A to add some content in that file. Opens the text file in the append mode. Next, R plus opens the text file in both reading and writing mode. W plus opens the text file in both reading and writing mode. It sets the correct cursor position to the beginning of the file it exists. It sets the cursor position to the beginning of the file if it exists. So if the file is already exist, it sets the correct cursor position to the beginning of the file. Next, A plus opens a text file in both reading and writing mode. Thus, reading operation is performed from the beginning and writing operation is performed at the end of the file. Suppose if you have a file, in that file, if you want to perform the reading operation is performed from the beginning of the file. Whereas if you want to append some content in that file, so it is performed only at the end of the file, not from the beginning of the file. That is A plus. So there are the modes in C programming are R, W, A, R plus, W plus and A plus. See, these are the text modes, text file modes. If you have to open the files or if you want to do any operations on the binary files, it will be RB, WB, AB, RB plus, WB plus, AB plus. These are the binary files. Next, the following operations are performed on files in the C. So what are the operations that we can perform on any file? So first, create or open a file, reading data from a file, writing data into a file and closing a file. Create or opening a file, reading data from a file, writing data into a file and closing a file. So how to create or open a file? How to create or open any file? To create a new file or to open an existing file, we need to create a file pointer of file type. To create any new file or opening an existing file, we need to create a file pointer. So in the previous case, I have given you like the data will be in the RAM for the temporary purpose and a copy of data is maintained in the RAM and the data that is exist in the hard disk will be the permanent one. So a file pointer will always be pointing to the hard disk of your computer. So you can say what data type it will be. Obviously it is file. So the data type will be file itself and you have to write it in capital letters. So following the sample code for creating a file pointer. So this is what the declaration of a file pointer. So like this you will declare file pointer ptr. We use the predefined function method fopen to create a new file or to open an existing file. So which method we have or the function? You can open any file by using this fopen function or to create any file you can use fopen function. So the syntax here, file pointer fptr is equals to, so this is what the declaration of a file, and pointer ptr is equals to fopen of, suppose so by seeing this example, what we can say, there is a file pointer that is created and you are telling the compiler to open this file in which mode? In write mode. So rev.txt is a file which already existed. That file must be already, or else you can create a file. By using this function, you can create a file. You are creating a file and if you want to open that file, you can tell the modes of file. We have discussed RWA. So here I am opening this file in the write mode. Next, the following operations performed on file in the C, the following process. In the language that creating or opening a file, reading data from a file, writing the data into a file and closing a file. So closing a file is performed by using a predefined function fclose. See, suppose if you want to, so you have opened any file by using rb.txt. Suppose in the same example, if you want to open any particular file in read mode. So how you will declare the file? First, file, the data type will be file itself, file pointer p. P is equals to f open of, here I have taken the example as abc.txt, comma r. Means in which mode we are trying to open that particular file abc.txt. We are trying to open that particular file abc.txt in read mode. Next, suppose if you want to open that particular file to append some any content, so it's abc.txt, comma a. Means what a indicates? A means appending. So means you want to add any text to that particular file, you have to specify that mode. Next, file pointer p is equals to f open of abc.txt, comma a plus. So what is a plus? It's both reading and writing. Reading is done from the beginning of the file, whereas writing is done at only the end of the file. It's a plus. So like this you can open or create any file by using this fopen function. Once you are done, it's your responsibility to close that file. So that's why we have this function fclose. So once you are done, fclose of which file you are pointing, which pointer variable you have created, that you have to give. So fclose of pointer fp. Closing a file is performed by using a predefined method fclose of file pointer fptr. This method fclose returns 0 on success of file close, otherwise it returns end of the file. So if the file is existed and it will returns, if you close that particular file, it returns 0 on success, and if the file, otherwise it returns end of the file. UF represents the end of the file. So that's all for this session. In the next session, I'll discuss file handling functions in C program.